Thames Water supplies water to Guildford. The local MP is Zöe Franklin, and has been very critical of the firm. Joins me now. Good morning.
Good morning, James.
What do you make of the ban?
So I think on the one hand, people understand how hot it's been, how dry it's been. But you know what? I think people are understandably finding it hard to accept the hosepipe ban when Thames Water have increased their bills by about 40% on average. They've reported recently a £226 million profit. And this was the one that really gets me, particularly with that stat that your reporter said about how much extra water's been used. Thames Water has reported to be losing over half a billion litres of water per day in leaks.
Right. The thing is, it is hot. Everywhere looks as dry as a biscuit, and clearly we don't want to run out of water, because the thing is, the leaks thing has been historical, hasn't it, really?
It has. So I think I'm going to be fair to them just for today and say it is right to have a hosepipe ban. You know, the reality is this is the third heat wave. We're facing hotter summers every year, but it does raise the question of, we've been having hotter summers. Thames Water haven't done the infrastructure builds that they needed to for a long time. So you can kind of see the balance between it needs to be done and we all need to maybe change the way we garden going forward. But also you can understand why residents feel so kind of grumpy and perturbed by the fact this has happened.
Also, we should mention a lot of people in Guildford had their water cut off for a huge chunk of time, and that was an absolute mess as well, wasn't it?
It is, and we've had over the years all sorts of problems. There's been the problems down in Alfold and Bramley, Cranley, Guildford in 23 lost water for 11 days in the kind of the late end of 23. Thames Water do not have a great track record, whether it's on the clean water side or, frankly, on the sewage side.
Now, you want the company to be put into special measures. What's that actually mean, Zoe?
So basically it means that the government takes it on and it's a path to it being mutualised and brought sort of into a version of public ownership without the giant cost that comes with nationalisation. It put people and experts on the board and frankly start to address the fact that Thames Water is frankly all about shareholder profits. Ultimately, they need to invest in the infrastructure. It needs to be mutualised.
All right, interesting. Well, they've already said, and Andy Burnham's talked about this apparently, that, you know, nationalising the Thames Water, I think, has been specifically mentioned as well. So you'd welcome that, I guess. Oh,
absolutely. I mean, we've been calling it for a long time. And so to see Andy Burnham pondering it, what we haven't seen is the detail. He sort of said the kind of potentially, we want the detail from him.
What would be different, though? Because you and I have been on the trains. You go up to London regularly to Parliament. That's been nationalised, South Western Railway, and there's no difference really, is there?
There isn't. But I think the thing is, you need that time to kind of move into that new ownership model. Then you have much greater accountability for government and the people, frankly, on those companies to do the things they need to do. But it is going to be challenging because Thames Water, like so many water companies, have underinvested for decades.
Right, interesting. Well, we did ask Thames Water for an interview. They failed to even respond to our requests. In a statement, though, Neville Muncaster, its Director of Strategic Water Resources, has said this.
We wouldn't be taking this step unless it was necessary to protect water supplies for everyone and the environment. This year's hot weather had meant during peak periods, water had been used faster than it can be treated and moved through parts of the network, placing additional pressure on local supplies. While there's enough water for essential use, we need to reduce non-essential outdoor demand to keep taps flowing, and the situation will be kept under close review with restrictions lifted when safe to do so.
Well, aside of Thames Water, other water companies have introduced a hosepipe ban. They include South East Water. They cover Camberley, Farnham, Aldershot and Farnborough. They say temporary restrictions will be enforced from Saturday. However, it is asking people to respect these restrictions immediately. Affinity Water, that covers Woking, Chertsey and Staines, says its hosepipe restrictions came into force on Friday last week. One of my neighbours is still watering his garden. Not brave enough to say anything. Say it on the radio. But anyway, SES Water, that covers Redhill, Reigate, Caterham and Dorking, says currently it isn't planning to introduce a hosepipe ban. Still got Zoe here. Whilst you're here, Zoe, let's get reaction. We've got a huge amount of pubs, restaurants and bars locally, and the government has announced this morning a reduction in business rates for hospitality. What do you think?
I think it's a really positive first step for businesses. I've spoken to a lot of hospitality venues and they're really struggling. You know, people have less money in their pockets. This will help. But there's other things that need to be done around, income tax, all sorts of things need to be dealt with as well. It's a really difficult market. So I just want to say to people of Guildford, have a fabulous summer, go out and spend in our amazing hospitality venues.
Appreciate you coming in this morning.
Pleasure.
Zöe Franklin is the MP for Guildford.